Well, hey everyone, today is day 3 of our devotional reading through Psalm 22 during Lent. We just begin with verse 3. Yet you are holy, enthroned on the praises of Israel. In the first 2 verses of Psalm 22, what we saw was a demonstration of pain in the psalmist, and then we believe that as Jesus is quoting the psalm on the cross, that it's also an expression of his own pain. And of course, it's horrifying to think what crucifixion is like, and the incredible pain and shame that accompanies such a violent death. And yet, here at verse 3, the psalm takes a turn. Yet. At this point, Jesus claims that his trust and his faith is in God. He has expressed his emptiness in being forsaken. He's anguished about the silence of unanswered prayer. However, these sorrows do not shake his faith. This is a massive verse. One commentator calls it the triumph of faith, that the Savior stood like a rock. Jesus might have been tempted to surrender his faith, but he didn't. He affirms it. Verse 3 is the ultimate statement of trust. Jesus, having faced the void, now declares that even still God can be trusted. Even now, God is holy. And this is remarkable, and it should be inspiring to us. After all, Jesus knows that his earthly life will soon be over. He has willingly surrendered it, and according to God's will. He has been beaten and mocked. He is exhausted from the climb of Calvary. He's dragged his cross through hordes of jeering people, feeling spit on his face. And now, under the weight of his own body hanging from spikes, Jesus declares that the Father is holy. His Father is holy, the same holy God who's been trusted and celebrated and praised by the nation of Israel. And so at verse 3, we're redirected away from anguish and hopelessness and towards confidence and promise. I'm reminded of what the Apostle Paul wrote, I believe, to the Philippians when he said, I know whom I have believed in, and I am persuaded that he is able to keep that which I've committed to him until that day. This is what Jesus is doing on the cross. A word that encapsulates the sense of this surprise is one of the most underused but powerful words in the life of faith. Nevertheless. Jesus says that though he feels the despair of being ignored by the Father in heaven, nevertheless, he knows that God is holy. Even though the prayers and cries of this perfect dying man seem unheard and unanswered, nevertheless, the God of Israel is holy. Sometimes if we choose to make a list of our lingering grievances, problems, and sorrows, we can grow weary and depressed. I've definitely felt that. In this broken and fallen world, many things don't go right. They don't go our way. There's ample room for worry and doubt every day. But the use of the word nevertheless can change the direction of our lament. This word means that we acknowledge the hard things around us, but yet we still choose trust. Nevertheless is a word that takes us from being forlorn to being faithful. When Jesus acknowledges the holiness of God, he uses a unique metaphor to show how God comes to people in distress and danger. Jesus says that God is the one who is enthroned on the praises of Israel. This phrase is found nowhere else in the Bible, and yet we sense exactly what it means. In times of our great hardship and suffering, if we turn to worship, praise, singing, and deep expressions of thanksgiving, God seems palpably present to us. In this way, God inhabits our praise and worship. Do you want to sense the presence of God in your life, even in difficult or painful times? I know I do. Well, tell God of your pain and suffering and prayer and petition. Be real and be honest. And then, as you conclude your prayer, add words such as these: Nevertheless, I will trust and praise you, O God. And in doing so, you will see that God inhabits your praise of Him as well. Keep trusting, keep praying, friends. And today, take time to set aside a moment to just say your nevertheless. Have a good day.